one. And Mandy, probably Mandy or Clint.
Whatever you.
Mandy, would you please conduct the roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Munoz,
Here.
Commissioner Poplawski,
Here.
Chair Evian,
Here.
and Commissioner Mortensen. She's here. I don't know if she's hearing.
Or sound.
I wonder if we can hear them.
Can you hear me?
I can hear Wendy. Yeah.
What about Julie?
So Commissioner Mortensen, can you say that you're here for the record? See her, does that count?
Not gonna be much football.
Yeah, she,
Delivered.
she won't be able to time it.
Sure. Microphone.
She doesn't show her thing doesn't show her muted.
No. Speakers. So where is she?
Fort Bragg, I think.
She just muted or something.
That's.
Maybe we will keep the rest of thumbs up or something.
Yeah, I say we just. She's on.
Back and then I would say ask her, Commissioner Mortensen, can, we just messaged you. Are you able to, acknowledge that you're here either through the message, direct message? Or voice? Not hearing anything.
Yes.
Oh, wait, I think she's off mute. Can you say present again?
No, now she's
No,
muted.
she's muted. She can call into the meeting.
Oh, what's that? Yes, I can hear you now. Did she
Okay.
say that? Is that her?
Must be her. She's the only one I'm talking to.
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear.
Okay, so Commissioner Mortensen, can you say you're present, please?
I'm here.
Perfect, thank you.
Awesome.
All right, well, welcome to new Commissioner Julie Mortensen for joining the commission. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
So has the proper posting of the agenda been established?
Yes, it has.
All right. Let's go to item 2, approval of minutes from the October 19th, 2022 commission meeting. So
I move to approve the minutes. Second.
Roll call. Commissioner Poplawski,
Aye.
Chair Evian,
aye.
Commissioner Mortensen,
Aye.
And Commissioner Munoz.
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously.
All right, public expression. This is an opportunity for the public to address the commission on matters not listed on this agenda. Individuals wishing to address the commission under public expression are welcome to do so via email, Zoom, or voicemail message. Is there anyone from the public? Okay. Item 4, employee organization. This agenda item is to be used for employee organization representatives to present information / requests to the Civil Service Commission. Anyone representing an employee organization here today? No. All right, moving on to closed session. We have 2 items on closed session today, so let's
Adjourn to closed
move
session.
to closed session or adjourn to closed session.
I know, okay. I'll put those of you who are not involved in closed session in the waiting room and then we'll get started.
All right. The first item,
Hold on, active question is gonna take a few minutes.
Down.
There we go, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, right?
Yes, she's presenting.
Both. I'm
Okay.
presenting for both.
What it was.
Yeah, when you reopen. Discussion.
Um, in closed session, the commission unanimously supported the employment application appeal and unanimously approved extension of probationary period for the public employee performance evaluation. Okay. Moving on to item 6, classification. 6A, new classification of incumbent sheriff's office coroner investigative technician. So who will
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Brandy Dalzell, Human Resources Acting Senior HR Analyst. At the request of the Sheriff's Office, a reclassification study was conducted on the Sheriff Evidence Technician classification. Human Resources contracts with CPS HR Consulting, and they reviewed the current classification, conducted various interviews, and reviewed benchmark counties for similar classifications, and based on the results, determined the need to create a new classification titled Coroner Investigative Technician. The proposed new classification has the responsibility for performing a variety of complex, technical, non-sworn work in support of the Criminal Investigations Unit, serving as the primary liaison for coroner-related functions, providing support for coroner-related functions, and collecting and preserving evidence. There is a current incumbent, and they meet the qualifications for a reclassification to the Coroner Investigative Technician. Additionally, we have subject matter experts available should you have any additional questions.
So the incumbents in the evidence technician position are the ones that we're going to be reclassifying in this new position if we approve it.
There is one incumbent that will be reclassified.
What are they called now?
They're called the Sheriff's Evidence Technician and being reclassified to a coroner investigator.
Is this classification more pay, just out of curiosity? Or have you gotten to that point in the class and comp survey?
At this time, we do not discuss salary. We're just talking about the reclassification. The salary is determined by the Board of Supervisors should this be approved and adopted by the Civil Service.
So I don't see any change in the language to the classification specification.
That's because it's a new classification. It's a proposed brand new classification.
Okay.
Well, how is it different from the I guess incumbent, the person that's going to be reclassified? I mean,
Yeah, I guess that's right.
That's different. You don't see the market.
I don't see the original.
Yeah, it's here, it's not marked up, my age, right, because it's a whole new.
Okay. If I understood your question, you're asking what the difference is between the coroner investigative tech and the sheriff's evidence tech. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay. I will speak to this, but I do have Under Sheriff Brewster on the line, and he's available to add to this after I address this a little bit more. As stated earlier, the new classification actually has more responsibility for completing more complex and technical duties than that of the current sheriff's evidence technician. Under Sheriff Brewster, do you have anything to add?
Yes. First off, hello, board members, and thank you for letting us come and speak with you today regarding these positions. For the coroner investigative technician, it's mainly, well, 100% behind coroner's work. So it works directly underneath the chief deputy coroner, which is Lieutenant Porter, who is also on this call, and I'll push over to him on some of the statistical information regarding what this job actually entails. But it's not just doing normal evidence work, it's dealing with any coroner's case that happens in the county, which also includes homicides, which is definitely a much higher skill level and skill set than a normal evidence tech. It deals in having to go to autopsies, dealing with next of kin families, dealing with coroner's evidence, which could be body remains, writing up referral coroner's cases, dealing with doctor's offices regarding the coroner's cases that come in to the county. This position is basically the mainstay on how we stay up to date and focused on doing a much better job regarding our coroner's cases. I'll revert to Lieutenant Porter to go over more of the statistical data.
Yes, good morning, and thank you to the commissioners. So the evidence technician position has primarily been a warehouse job in our evidence warehouse. They do, from time to time, respond to crime scenes and at the direction of detectives or investigators assist in collecting and photographing and documenting crime scenes. This position, we basically took an evidence position to come back and assist with the coroners, but it has evolved over the last couple of years. For example, in 2019, we had 319 coroners cases, and those are the ones that are not hospice cases. They're not people that die as attended deaths in hospitals. These are ones that a coroner's investigation has to be done. Some of them are doctor sign-outs, but the other ones, we have to, through the coroner's office, determine cause and manner. So 319 in 2019. In 2020, that number jumped to 470. 2021, 472. And at the end of November, we were at 468 for this year. With the rise of fentanyl and some of the other scourges of society, that's been a tremendous increase to the workload. The incumbent we currently have, she works tremendously. Basically, from Monday to Wednesday morning, her job is to collect all the coroner's reports from the last week, all of the photographs, communicate with doctors' offices to obtain medical records, because a number of the coroner's cases, our contract pathologist, Dr. Amalu, will review medical records to help determine cause and manner, or actually cause. And then manner comes afterwards, and that's a coalition of he and I that determine the manner. So it's a high volume of work, not to mention attending autopsies, transporting sometimes human remains. She attends CT scans and x-rays at the hospital for some of our pre-pathology decedents. She also delivers sometimes partial remains to our forensic odontologist, Dr. Jim Wood, and or Chico State University. The volume, like I said, is tremendous. And additionally, on top of that, she provides training to deputies. She provides training to new deputies. She interacts with our deputies if there's an issue with a report. It's a tremendous amount of work. Like I said, I can't state that enough. So that, working with the donor networks, working with the hospitals, it's an extremely important position to the sheriff's office, and it is something that we need to be able to maintain and keep that position filled at all times. My role as the chief deputy coroner, I review her reports, I oversee, I sign the death certificates, and I assist with the determining cause and manner, but I also manage investigations. I manage several other units, including courts. So her position is extremely essential.
And just to thank you, Andy, and to add on that, just imagine the stress and how difficult it is to deal with her daily job, which is dealing with families of people that have just passed. It's a wearing issue. It's very hard to deal with that daily. She does an amazing job with that, and that is something that is really, in my mind, puts her in a different category from an evidence technician. That is her primary function, is to make sure the families are taken care of. If there's either hospice work or if it's a ward of the state type of thing, I mean, she deals with all these intricate details regarding the coroner's cases for our county.
So would the evidence technician position still exist? This is just and then the incumbent, what I'm hearing is the current evidence technician I heard that the evidence position has evolved over the last few years. So is it the expectation that whoever is currently involved in that evidence technician position would be qualified to move into this coroner investigative technician position? Is that the expectation?
We would hope that the mentoring program would bring somebody into that ability. So with Stephanie, the person that's there now, her position would basically be an ad deleted, go to the coroner's investigative technician, and that evidence technician spot would go. As she was trained by her predecessor, who trained her into this position, because it's a very technical position. There was multiple months where she was trained on how to do this. We were going through this process to try and get this position pushed to this coroner's investigative technician, because it's such a higher level job class than an evidence tech. It's just taken a long time to make that happen. And in that time, she's been doing this work, which is definitely above what her position allowed.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Someone want to make a motion?
I have one other question. So just to make sure I understand the current evidence tech, prior, as I'm looking at that class spec, I'm not seeing a whole lot of like family and some of that other stuff that you're talking about. So that particular piece, that's what's evolved and made this the need for a new classification to incorporate all of this additional work with the family and things of that nature. Is that a safe assumption?
So I'm sorry, it's in the class spec. It shows that they deal with family members next to kin. I'm not sure what your question is.
Okay, well, I was looking at the evidence technician class, but I wasn't really seeing a whole lot with the family stuff. So that I think that's really the biggest difference I'm seeing.
The two biggest difference, it's twofold. One is definitely dealing with the families, but two, it's dealing with coroner's cases, which so crime scenes and homicide investigations, so to speak, she would assist in that. That's a much higher grade of evidence collection, of case class. So that it's everything she does is one step above in our minds, because dealing with coroners cases, you could have suspicious deaths, which lead into a homicide investigation. She would be a part of that entire process to assist us in pushing that forward with our detectives. A normal evidence technician would not do that.
Okay, so Norma's evidence tech would be doing like, I don't know, fingerprints for like a vandalism or something.
Well, and bringing in other evidence, logging, categorizing it, dealing with the DA's office for our cases. As it says in the specs, the coroner's investigative technician doesn't work with the DA's office unless she's going to testify in a case. She deals strictly with us and assists the chief deputy coroner with doing coroner's cases.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm good now. Thank you.
And if I may, Commissioner, in addition to what we're talking about here, we are not abolishing the evidence tech we are only talking one reclassification of a current incumbent who is going above and beyond and doing more of the coroner's investigative work.
Correct.
We have to create the classification first.
Right, exactly.
Okay,
I'll move
great.
that we approve the coroner investigative technician classifications.
Is there a second?
I second.
Right.
Roll call. Commissioner Poplawski,
Aye.
Chair Evian,
Aye.
Commissioner Mortensen,
Yes.
and Commissioner Munoz.
Abstain.
So motion carries 3-1.
Right.
And I'll move to approve the reclassification of the current investigative. What is it? Evidence technician. The new position of coroner investigative technician.
Is there a second?
I second.
Roll call. Chair Evian,
Yes.
Commissioner Mortensen,
Yes.
Commissioner Munoz,
Abstain.
Commissioner Poplawski.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-1.
Okay. Item 6B, new classification specification, principal department analyst.
Morning, this is Brandy again, acting senior human resources analyst. Before you, you have another new classification specification for a principal department analyst. The background on this is the auditor, controller, treasurer, tax collector's office has recently been combined at the direction of the board of supervisors and have also experienced a great deal of transition. Over the last several months, the human resources department has been working closely with the auditor, controller, treasurer, tax collector's office to understand the needs of the department and staffing solutions. As the department continues to face challenges in recruiting and retaining employees, Human Resources has proposed the newly attached classification specification for principal department analyst. With the proposed recommended action, this permits not only the auditor, controller, treasury, tax collector's office, but other departments as well to recruit for a higher level analyst classification and will provide the department's extra resources to produce the level of work needed. At this time, there are no incumbents in this classification.
Gotta find out how much money we're coming in with. Well, I move that we approve.
Well, I just got one question, actually. Before the two departments were combined, the auditor controller department and the treasurer tax collector department, there must have been someone at the county that performed these higher level analyst tasks. Yes?
William Schurz, HR manager, secretary to the commission. I can answer that question.
Okay.
Yes, there was an individual that was providing that level of work. It just happened to be, it was an elected position. I don't know the history as far as whether they needed a separate individual to do that work, but that was the case. And so what we've been asked is to, there is a need for that higher level analytical position, as well as some of the supervisory responsibilities, which a principal department analyst would provide. So that was the need, and so there was no classification that met the need. And so we created the new classification because of that. I think that you'll see that there are a number of higher level positions. I can tell you that manager positions some positions do very high level analytical work as well. It may or may not be involved in their classification, but in this particular case, there was a need to have a specific classification, and this classification is part of the department analyst series. So it is the most experienced analyst for the most complex issues.
Which were previously performed by the person in the elected position.
Correct.
And now that those two departments have been combined, that person has a lot less time to devote to this.
Correct. Yeah. So it's essentially takes two elected department heads combining into one.
Right.
And so it's just the way that things work.
Yeah.
Is there a sense of checks and balances doing it that way?
Doing which way?
I mean, when they combine them together.
I can't speak to that. That's something that our treasurer tax collector is involved in trying to figure all those things out. When you combine two departments, there's a lot of things to consider.
Yeah. So we essentially eliminated a position by combining those two departments, but as a result, we now need to create this position because of doing that.
I think that anytime that you combine departments or break up departments, large departments, I think you see a need for specific work that may not have been in one particular classification or position. So there are some things that we do to, in HR to help assist these departments in when they do make these changes in organizations.
Right.
Okay, I'll move to approve the principal department analyst classification specification.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Mortensen,
Yes.
Commissioner Munoz,
Aye.
Commissioner Poplawski,
Aye.
and Chair Evian.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, moving on, our next classification, specification, modification, sheriff's office, community services worker.
Morning again, Brandy Dalzell, acting senior human resources manager.
Analyst.
Analyst, sorry.
Would be the manager.
My apologies. Before you now, you have a specification modification to the classification of community services officer. It was originally adopted in 1999 and has not been updated since that time. The sheriff's office has been staffed with higher level classifications which have absorbed these duties and responsibilities typically that have been completed by the CSO or the community services officer. Due to many changes and difficulties filling higher level classifications, the undersheriff has requested revision to the classification specification for the CSO, which will enable the department to start recruiting for the community service officers classification. With the proposed recommended action, this permits the sheriff's office to recruit for additional staff at a lower level classification and will build a career benchmark, improve retention, and allow for succession plans within the county. At this time, there are no incumbents in the classification.
So, go ahead.
So we're talking about approving modifications to the.
Yeah, as you see, there's quite a lot of modifications on here. And the original CSO, community service officers, was really aligned with the DARE program and the PAL program, of which we've moved on beyond those programs, and the CSO is doing much different tasks. Again, Under Sheriff Brewster is available for additional questions.
Well, isn't it, I guess I have a question, isn't it conceivable to add the additional tasks without deleting the original tasks?
In our work, when we've done this, a lot of the tasks that are being removed are not applicable anymore to the community services officer, and of which the new tasks that have been added is really what the classification is doing now.
Okay.
I move to accept the modification to the community services officer classification specification.
Is there a second?
I second.
Please have roll call, yes.
Commissioner Munoz,
Abstain.
Commissioner Poplawski,
Aye.
Chair Evian,
Yes,
and Commissioner Mortensen.
Yes.
The motion carries 3-1.
right, and moving on, item 6D, classification specification modification, public health, title change of director of nursing, public health.
Hi, good morning. You have here before you is the recommendation to approve and adopt a classification title change for what is currently called the Deputy Director of Public Health Nursing to the Director of Nursing Public Health. At the request of the Public Health Department, the title change is supported by and recommended by Human Resources following the organizational restructuring of what was formerly known as HHSA, or Health and Human Services Agency. This title change best aligns with the new structure, as public health is now as a standalone department. Additionally, we have Amber McDonald on the call if you have additional questions. Amber is with the Department of Public Health.
So my question is, with this new title change, which seems to be generated by the reorganization at the county, is there any essential, it's just a title change, there's no change to the actual job duties, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. That's easy. That's easy. Other questions? Everyone make a motion?
Okay, I move that we adopt the title change for the class specification to Director of Nursing Public Health.
Right, is there a second?
A second.
Commissioner Poplawski,
Aye.
Chair Evian,
Yes?
Commissioner Mortensen,
Yes.
and Commissioner Munoz.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimous.
Okay, no other business, Human Resources Director report.
Good morning, Commissioners, Chair, William Schurtz, Human Resources Manager. There is, I think we had a pretty full agenda today, a lot of classification, modifications, new classifications. I will tell you that HR is continually working on a number of class studies, a number of these modifications, and I think we have around 40 that in our queue right now. We do have a number of requests from a number of different departments. So I think going forward through the next year of 2023, you will be seeing a good number
Beware.
of class spec modifications, possibly some new classifications. I would like to thank the commission. This is the end of the year, right? Thank the commission for, this entire year, the work that you've done. I think that we've really moved forward with a lot of good work in the classification arena, as well as, dealing with applicant appeals and these things that you're charged to hear. And I think that 2023 is going to be just as busy, if not more so. So really appreciate all the hard work that the commission does. And again, we look forward to working with you going forward for the next year.
Thank you.
And welcome, Julie.
And
Welcome, Julie.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I do have a question. When is the next meeting? Is that January the
18th, it's the third Wednesday of every month, unless like this, where we canceled due to it being close to the holidays, it would have been next week, the 21st. And then obviously we pull you guys ahead of time and let you know if there's gonna be a special meeting or a change, but you can put it on your calendar for every third Wednesday of the month at 9 a.m.
Is this a typical meeting length, or I guess I'm just trying to make sure that I block out enough time on my calendar?
I think that the typical meeting length is usually less than an hour. I think we have just a lot of things going forward, especially with the closed session and hearing that. And so it doesn't we usually don't have a lot of closed sessions during the year. But we do typically have 3 or 4 classification modification issues to be heard. And so it usually is under an hour.
Okay, will there be a meeting? I saw one that had, I guess, for 2022. Is another one like that going to be sent out for 2023?
Another meeting for 2022?
No. So unless I'm looking at my calendar wrong, that invite had it looked like it was kind of the recurring meeting for the whole of the year of 2022. Is there going to be that sent out with like Zoom information for 2023?
Yeah, so how the Zoom link works is it gives you, and obviously this will be new for me because this will be my first new year. But when you send it out, it lists all 12 meetings on the original one, and then we just remove. So then, so in January, you'll get all 12 meetings. And then when I resend the link in February, I'll remove the January link or the January date because it's already been done. And so every time you get a Zoom invitation, we'll have all the meetings list, all the regular meetings listed on there for you. So
Okay,
yeah,
I mean, I'll block my calendar, but I just was waiting so I could just have one with the Zoom information is where it's on with that.
And it's always the same, even though I send the link out each time, it's always the same meeting information.
Okay. All right, I think I'm good, but thank you for having me on the commission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, you have to close it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are good.
Okay, the meeting is now adjourned. It's 10:29.
You made a 10:30 deadline.
You did.
Yeah.
You did it.
Good job.
Happy holidays.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.